Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I am Balsa Williams and with me is Renu Kataria with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate and lay foundation stone of 23 projects worth over 17,000 crore rupees at Haldwani in Uttarakhand. Centre extends Armed Forces Special Powers Act in Nagaland for 6 more months with effect from today. Election Commission reviews poll preparedness for assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh and assures free and fair elections with strict adherence to COVID guidelines. Over 143 crore 83 lakh doses of COVID vaccines administered in the country, 961 cases of Omicron reported so far. Night curfew to be imposed in Kerala from tonight to contain COVID-19. WHO warns of tsunami of COVID cases due to simultaneous circulation of Delta and Omicron variants. And in cricket, India were 117 for 4 against South Africa on day 5 of the first test match at Centurion. As India marches towards administering 150 crore vaccine doses against COVID-19, news about the new corona variant is a cause for concern. In this situation, we appeal to our listeners to get fully vaccinated at the earliest and help others get vaccinated. Please continue to follow these 3 simple steps to stay safe. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate and lay the foundation stone of 23 projects worth over 17,500 crore rupees. Among the 23 projects, the foundation stone will be laid for 17 projects worth over 14,100 crore rupees. These projects cover a wide array of sectors and areas across the state, including irrigation, road, housing, health infrastructure, industry, sanitation, and drinking water supply. The program will witness inauguration of 6 projects, including multiple road widening projects, a hydropower project in Pithoragarh, and projects to improve sewerage network in Nainital. The cumulative cost of the projects being inaugurated is over 3,400 crore rupees. Mr. Modi will lay the foundation stone of the Lakwar multipurpose project to be built at a cost of about 5,750 crore rupees. In line with the Prime Minister's vision to improve connectivity at far-flung places of the country, multiple road sector projects worth about 8,700 crore rupees would be inaugurated. The projects whose foundation stones would be laid include 4-laning of 85-kilometer Muradabad-Kashipur road to be built at a cost of over 4,000 crore rupees and 2-laning of 22-kilometer stretch of Gadarpur-Dineshpur-Matkota Haldwani road and 18-kilometer stretch of Kicha to Pantnagar. The road projects being inaugurated by Mr. Modi include a project of 99-kilometer road widening from Nagina to Kashipur, built at a cost of over 2,500 crore rupees, and projects to widen road at 3 stretches in the strategic Tanakpur-Pithoragarh road built under all-weather road project at a cost of over 780 crores. Mr. Modi will also lay the foundation stone of AIIMS Rishikesh Satellite Centre in Udham Singh Nagar district and Jagjeevan Ram Government Medical College at Pithoragarh.
The Election Commission reviewed poll preparedness for assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh and assured that free and fair elections will be conducted in the state with strict adherence to the COVID guidelines. The Commission also said that all political parties want elections to be held on time in the state.
भारत निर्वाचन आयोग का हमेशा मानना है कि मतदाताओं के बाद राजनीतिक दल चुनाव प्रक्रिया के महत्वपूर्ण स्टेक होल्डर हैं। आयोग ने राजनीतिक दल के प्रतिनिधियों को आश्वासन भी दिया है कि हमारा प्रयास स्वतंत्र, निष्पक्ष, सहभागी, प्रलोभन युक्त और कोविड सेफ चुनाव कराने का है, इंक्लूसिव एंड एक्सेसिबल इलेक्शंस, सो दैट हमारा जो मोटो है दैट नो वोटर शुड बी लेफ्ट बिहाइंड एंड कमीशन विल डू ईच एंड एवरी पॉसिबल एक्ट फॉर दैट पर्टिकुलर डायरेक्शन.
The full Election Commission, led by Chief Election Commissioner Sushil Chandra, had discussions with different stakeholders, including representatives of political parties, state government, election officials and DGP and Chief Secretary of Uttar Pradesh for the last 3 days to review the preparedness for assembly elections in the state. Addressing the media before departure, Chief Election Commissioner Sushil Chandra said that threat of COVID and especially the new Omicron variant was discussed in all stakeholders and Commission announced a volley of measures in view of the COVID. He said polling time will be increased by 1 hour due to threat of COVID, and instead of 1500 now, only 1250 voters will vote on one booth during elections. 11,000 new polling booths will be established for this purpose. CEC Sushil Chandra said that the number of the patients with Omicron variant of COVID is very less in the state, and the state government has assured to vaccinate maximum number of eligible people in the coming 15 to 20 days. He said that some political parties even objected to the number of rallies being held in the state. Sushil Chandra said that for the first time, Divyangs, COVID patients and senior citizens aged above 80 years will have the facility to vote from home through postal ballot. More than 52.8 new voters have been registered in the state, and the majority of them are female. Chief Election Commissioner Sushil Chandra said,
विशेष संक्षिप्त पुनरीक्षण 2022 के दौरान 52.8 लाख नए मतदाताओं को इलेक्टोरल रोल में सम्मिलित किया गया है। इसमें लगभग 23.92 लाख पुरुष और 28.86 लाख महिला मतदाता हैं। इन नए मतदाताओं में 18 से 19 आयु वर्ग के करीब 19.89 लाख शामिल हैं, जो कि पिछले एसएसआर के मुकाबले 3 गुने अधिक हैं। यानी कि पिछली बार जो ये 18 से 19 तक के मतदाता थे, इनका परसेंटेज पूरे इलेक्टोरल रोल में कुल 0.51% था, जो कि बढ़कर अब 1.32% हो गया है। हमारा ये उद्देश्य है कि जितने लोग भी 18 साल 1 जनवरी 2022 को हो रहे हैं, वो सभी इलेक्टोरल रोल में शामिल हों। कॉलेजेस में जो इलेक्टोरल लिटरेसी क्लब बनाए, लोग वहां पहुंचे, जिसकी वजह से ये 3 गुना अधिक एनरोलमेंट हुआ है। ये इसके लिए अफसरों ने बहुत अधिक कार्य किया है।
He said that 800 polling stations will have only women employees. The full election team had arrived in Lucknow on Tuesday on a 3-day visit to the state to take stock of preparations for the upcoming elections.
The Armed Forces Special Powers Act, AFSPA 1958, has been extended in Nagaland for 6 more months, with effect from today. In a notification issued by the Home Affairs Ministry, it has been stated that the central government is of the opinion that the state of Nagaland is in a disturbed and dangerous condition, and the use of armed forces in aid of the civil power is necessary. The ministry further said the central government declares the whole of the state of Nagaland to be disturbed area for a period of 6 months with effect from today. Niti Aayog is organizing a day-long national-level workshop on bamboo development in New Delhi. Science and Technology Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh, Niti Aayog Vice Chairman Dr. Rajiv Kumar, Niti Aayog member Dr. V.K. Saraswat and CEO Amitabh Kant inaugurated the workshop today. On the occasion, Dr. Singh highlighted the role of the bamboo sector, saying it is going to be a key driver of economic growth in the post-COVID times. He said the country has huge resources of bamboo and it will become an important source of livelihood in the coming years. Niti Aayog Vice Chairman Dr. Rajiv Kumar said, ranging from conventional use to radical innovation like bioenergy, the bamboo industry contributes to $35 billion in the GDP.
The Union government has said a total of 961 cases of COVID variant Omicron have been reported so far in the country. Out of these total cases, 320 patients have already recovered and migrated. The maximum number of 263 cases were reported from Delhi, followed by Maharashtra and Gujarat. Omicron cases have been reported in 22 states and union territories. Health and Family Welfare Ministry today said over 143 crore 83 lakh doses of COVID vaccines have been administered in the country under the nationwide vaccination drive. The ministry said more than 63 lakh 91,000 COVID vaccine doses were administered in the last 24 hours. 7,486 COVID patients have recovered during the same period, and the national recovery rate stands at 98.38%. The country reported 13,154 new COVID cases in the last 24 hours. Currently, India's active caseload is 82,402. Over 149.70 crore vaccine doses have been provided to states and union territories so far. The vaccines have been given through the central government free of cost channel and direct state procurement category. The Health Ministry said around 17 crore balance and unutilized COVID vaccine doses are still available with the states and UTs.
Delhi Health Minister Satyendra Jain has said that 46% of total cases of COVID are of Omicron variant, according to latest genome sequencing reports of COVID patients. Briefing media in New Delhi today, Mr. Jain said Omicron cases are continuously rising in the national capital. He said 200 patients are presently hospitalized, out of which 115 patients have travel history. He said 102 patients are from Delhi. He said Omicron cases have also been found among those who do not have a travel history. To ease overcrowding on New Year's Eve tomorrow, the exit from Rajiv Chowk Metro Station in the national capital will not be allowed from 9 p.m. onwards. However, entry of passengers will be allowed till the departure of the last train from the station. DMRC has urged commuters to plan their journey accordingly. Night curfew will be imposed in Kerala from tonight in view of increasing cases of Omicron variant of COVID-19 in the state. The night curfew will be enforced from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. and will continue till the 2nd of January. The Department of Disaster Management said no religious, political, cultural or social gatherings, including in churches and other public places, would be allowed in the state after 10 p.m. during this period. Those who go out for urgent needs should carry a certificate citing the valid reason. New Year's celebrations will not be allowed after 10 p.m. Movie screenings are allowed only till 10 p.m. The central team assessing the Omicron situation in Kerala visited Palakkad district yesterday. Meanwhile, Kerala confirmed 2,846 new cases of COVID-19 during the last 24 hours.
Maharashtra reported 3,900 fresh cases of COVID-19 and 20 deaths yesterday. The state recorded 85 new cases of Omicron variant. The total active cases now stand at 14,065. Mumbai registered 2,510 COVID cases during the last 24 hours, a steep rise from 1,333 infections reported a day ago. The city recorded one death due to the infection. In a bid to contain the spread of the highly transmissible Omicron variant of COVID-19, Mumbai Police has imposed Section 144 prohibiting any New Year celebration in the city. The guidelines issued by the Commissioner of Police bans restaurants, hotels, bars, pubs, banquet halls, resorts and clubs from organizing any indoor to outdoor party or gathering today, on the eve of New Year's Day or thereafter. The order will come into effect from today and remain in force till January 7th.
In Punjab, 100 new COVID-19 cases were reported yesterday. One COVID-19 death was reported from Gurdaspur and 37 patients recovered. There are a total 449 active COVID-19 cases in Punjab now. The Deputy Chief Minister O.P. Soni has directed to ramp up the testing and vaccination in the state, considering the possibility of a third wave of COVID-19. World Health Organization WHO has warned that the simultaneous circulation of Delta and Omicron variants is driving a dangerous tsunami of COVID-19 cases. Briefing media yesterday, WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said the twin threats of the two variants are now driving up cases to record numbers, leading to spikes in hospitalizations and deaths. Dr. Tedros said this is and will continue to put immense pressure on exhausted health workers and put health systems on the brink of collapse. The warning of WHO chief comes in the backdrop of US and countries across Europe reporting record new COVID cases. The WHO said new global cases had risen by 11% last week, while the US and France both registered record daily case numbers yesterday. France reported Europe's highest ever daily figure for the second day in a row at 208,000 cases, and the US has reported a record average of 265,427 cases a day over the last week, according to Johns Hopkins. Denmark, Portugal, the UK and Australia have all also reported record-breaking figures. The new variant, first discovered in South Africa, has already become dominant in Europe. In the US, Omicron accounts for nearly 73% of the cases.
In Jammu and Kashmir, 6 terrorists were killed in 2 different encounters with security forces in Kulgam and Anantnag districts. According to a police spokesperson, an encounter broke out late last evening when security forces were conducting search operation in the Mirhama area of Kulgam district and came under heavy fire from the hiding terrorists. The slain terrorists were affiliated with terror outfit Jaish-e-Mohammed. 1 M4 and 2 AK-47 rifles were recovered from the encounter site. In another encounter at Naugam area of Anantnag district late last evening, 3 more terrorists were gunned down by security forces. A policeman also sustained injuries during the gunfight and is undergoing treatment. You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate and lay foundation stone of 23 projects worth over 17,000 crore rupees at Haldwani in Uttarakhand. Centre extends Armed Forces Special Powers Act in Nagaland for 6 more months with effect from today. Election Commission reviews poll preparedness for assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh and assures free and fair elections with strict adherence to COVID guidelines. Over 143 crore 83 lakh doses of COVID vaccines administered in the country, 961 cases of Omicron reported so far. Night curfew to be imposed in Kerala from tonight to contain COVID-19. WHO warns of tsunami of COVID cases due to simultaneous circulation of Delta and Omicron variants. And in cricket, India were 130 for 5 against South Africa on day 5 of the first test match at Centurion. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Do join us on 30th December at 7:30 a.m. in Aaj Savere and 4:30 p.m. in Parikrama for a special year-ender broadcast of Kaleidoscope.
Welcome back to the Midday News. Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is chairing a pre-budget consultation meeting with the finance ministers of all the states and union territories in New Delhi. Last week, she held meetings with the representatives and experts from agriculture and agro-processing industry, infrastructure and climate change, financial sector and capital markets, services and trade, social sector, trade union and labour organisation, as well as economists. The Finance Ministry has decided to extend the benefit of reduced performance security of 3% till the 31st of March 2023 for all central government's tenders and contracts. The Ministry has reduced the quantum of performance security from 5 to 10% to 3% of value of contract. The Ministry said this relief will help the industries to deploy additional resources in project execution. Timely and economical project execution by industry is vital for high-speed development of infrastructure as envisaged through the National Infrastructure Pipeline. Industry bodies, including construction, manufacturing and services, have represented for the need to extend the benefit of reduction in performance security.
Over 5 crore 9 lakh income tax returns have been filed so far. Income Tax Department has said 23,24,000 returns have been filed till yesterday. The department said due date for filing income tax returns for assessment year 2021-22 is 31st of this month. The RBI's half-yearly stress tests indicate that gross non-performing asset may climb from 8.1% to 9.5% by September next year. This has increased from 6-year low of 6.9% in September this year. However, the bad loans would still be in single digits even in a worst-case scenario. The Financial Stability Report released by RBI on Wednesday projects that outcomes are the most optimistic since the pandemic broke out. It couched with the assurance that banks are adequately capitalized to absorb the credit losses and meet prudential guidelines.
And now let's listen to our special program Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
On the 30th of December 1943, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose hoisted the national flag for the first time at the Gymkhana ground, now known as Netaji Stadium in Port Blair, and announced the islands to be the first Indian territory freed from British rule.
तूफान हिंद लाएंगे, वो शान हिंद लाएंगे, फिरंगियों की कौम पर वो कहर बन के छाएंगे, सुभाष जी वो जाने हिंद।
Netaji named Andaman Islands as Shaheed and Nicobar Islands as Swaraj, and appointed INA General A.D. Loganathan as the governor of the islands. The Azad Hind government was no more only a government in exile, but had its own land, own currency, civil code and stamps.
We also remember Jaintia freedom fighter U Kiang Nangba, who was martyred on December the 30th, 1862. U Kiang Nangba was born in Jobai, and unlike other freedom fighters of the region, he had no royal background and was a common farmer. Though he was only a child when the British annexed the Jaintia kingdom in 1835, he was greatly disturbed by the discriminatory policies of the Britishers. The British initially adopted a policy of least interference and left the Jaintia people almost entirely to themselves for a period of more than 2 decades. However, by 1860, they started increasing the tax burden on the Jaintias, which created a turmoil amongst them. Jaintias rose up in a fierce rebellion in 1862 under the leadership of young U Kiang Nangba. Nangba emerged as a great organizer and kept his identity a secret to avoid arrest.
He managed to outwit the British intelligence service and started gathering all the Dolois and Sirdars without causing any suspicion. However, the Jaintias were ultimately defeated because of the superior might of the British. In the unequal fight that ensued, hundreds of Jaintias were killed and U Kiang Nangba was betrayed, captured and hanged publicly on December the 30th, 1862. We salute the great freedom fighter.
We also remember freedom fighter and educationist Kanhaiyalal Maniklal Munshi, who was born on the 30th of December 1887 in Bharuch, Gujarat. He is the founder of the renowned educational institution Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan in 1938 with the blessings of Mahatma Gandhi.
Munshi was a good student and topped his BA and LLB exams. He was influenced by revolutionary leader Sri Aurobindo Ghosh to join the freedom struggle. While practicing law in Bombay, he joined Annie Besant's Home Rule League and met many leading freedom fighters of the time, such as Surendranath Banerjee and Mahatma Gandhi.
In 1927, he was elected to the Bombay Legislative Assembly, but after the Bardoli Satyagraha, he resigned under the influence of Mahatma Gandhi. He also participated in the civil disobedience movement and was imprisoned twice. Munshi was elected again in 1937 Bombay presidency elections and became the Home Minister of the Bombay Presidency and helped suppress the communal riots in the state.
After independence, Munshi was elected member of the Constituent Assembly of India and worked with several committees, including the Drafting Committee, Advisory Committee, Subcommittee on Fundamental Rights, and the Ad Hoc Flag Committee that selected the flag of India in August 1947.
Till his death in 1971, Munshi remained committed to the nation. We salute this great patriot.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव के पावन अवसर पर आकाशवाणी समाचार के कार्यक्रम परिक्रमा में गुरुवार को शाम 4:45 पर सुनिए देश की आजादी की लड़ाई में अपना अमूल्य योगदान देने वाले भारतीय स्वतंत्रता संग्राम के सिपाही की वीर गाथा।
Best wishes to all consumers for Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Hallmark ensures purity of gold. Always purchase hallmarked gold jewelry. For any consumer-related complaints, please contact National Consumer Helpline's toll-free number 14404. Issued in public interest by Department of Consumer Affairs, Government of India. Jago Grahak Jago.
The News Services Division of All India Radio presents 2021, the year that was. Let us take a look at the notable events and developments in the year. From politics to sports, business to global affairs, what made headlines in the year gone by? To know more, join us on 30th December on FM Gold Channel 100.1 MHz and additional frequencies from 9:30 p.m. onwards. This program will also be available on our website, newsonair.nic.in, and on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official.
In cricket, South Africa were 131 for 5 on the final day at Centurion today. Proteas resumed their innings today with 94 for 4 while chasing a 305-run target set by the visitors. India had bowled out South Africa for 197 after making 327 in their first innings.
The coldest U.S. state of Alaska has recorded its hottest ever December day. This is amid an unusual winter warm spell. Temperatures soared to a record 19.4 degrees Celsius on the island of Kodiak on Sunday, almost 7 degrees warmer than the state's previous high. Now let us take a look at the weather update for the day. The national capital Delhi is likely to have a partly cloudy sky. It recorded a minimum temperature of 3 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 21 degrees. Mumbai is likely to have a mainly clear sky. It noted a minimum temperature of 19 degrees, maximum expected to be around 30. Chennai will experience generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. There will not be much change in temperature as it will vary between 23 and 31 degrees. Kolkata will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. The city noted minimum temperature of 17, maximum expected to be around 24 degrees. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates and lays foundation stone of 23 projects worth over 17,000 crore rupees at Haldwani in Uttarakhand. Centre extends Armed Forces Special Powers Act in Nagaland for 6 more months with effect from today. Election Commission reviews poll preparedness for assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh and assures free and fair elections with strict adherence to COVID guidelines. Over 143 crore 83 lakh doses of COVID vaccines administered in the country. 961 cases of Omicron reported so far. Night curfew to be imposed in Kerala from tonight to contain COVID-19. WHO warns of tsunami of COVID cases due to simultaneous circulation of Delta and Omicron variants. And in cricket, India were 131 for 5 against South Africa on day 5 of the first test match at Centurion. And with that, we end the midday news.